You can decide right now that on March the 27th and 28th, you're going to inundate your mind with nothing but good information. You're going to learn how to adapt to this crazy time that we're living in. You're going to learn how to keep the conversation on the positive polarity rather than what's wrong. I love the way Earl Nightingale put it. He said, any dumbbell can figure out what's wrong. It takes a respectable amount of intelligence and right thinking to figure out what's right.
Very sweet.
March the 27th and 28th. Make a decision now, and then get a couple of your friends to go with you. Then you've got something you can lock into. You can join together that's really meaningful, and it's got some depth in it. It's life-changing.
Hello, my name is Raymond Aaron, New York Times top 10 bestselling author, and I'm honored to introduce to you someone that I'm sure you know, my dear friend for almost 40 years, Bob Proctor, the author of the book You Were Born Rich, the undisputed star of the blockbuster hit movie The Secret, and the grandfather of the entire personal growth industry. And he is going to be the superstar of my upcoming event called Thriving Post-Lockdown. Some people are not thriving during the lockdown, and some people are pivoting and doing incredibly well. But I want you not just to thrive in the lockdown, I want you to be ready for the whole new world that is coming. A whole new kind of world is coming, because when millions of people pivot and do things in a new way, it changes the world. And Bob is going to be one of our stars, giving us huge insight at that event. And I'm going to ask you now, Bob, what do you see? Why is the future going to be different? What's going on now? Why are some people thriving and other people are failing? What's going on?
Well, you know, everything's changing all the time. It's just that this is enormous change worldwide, not just locally or nationally, it's globally. And the law of the animal kingdom is obvious. It's adapt or die. And if you cannot adapt to the changes that are taking place in the world, you're going to find yourself in serious trouble. And a lot of people are there right now. I've been studying this now started 60 years this past October, and there's no exceptions to this. Everyone is playing the same game, and you either adapt to the situation that's going on or you die. It's important that you get into the right information. The event you've got coming up, it's so important to people, because if you don't consciously and deliberately go and seek out the right information, you're going to get buried with the wrong information, because everybody's talking about the problems. They're talking about all the problems that are going on in the world, not just in their neighborhood, but globally. But the answer is the same for an individual. Set a goal, fall in love with the goal, and only think of how to achieve it. Don't spend any time thinking of why you can't. Don't get involved in conversations where people are talking about what's wrong. Create conversations where we start talking about what's right. And the event you're putting on, I think, is the most important part. That's what the event is about. It's what's right for Raymond, what's right for Bob, what's right for Betty, what's right for Jeannie, what's right for Harry. And at the event, everybody's going to be encouraged to look at their own life. Look at where they are and look at where they want to go. There's general, universal ideas that'll help anyone get from where they are to where they want to go. Now, your goals may be different than my goals, but the goal is going to do the same thing for you as my goal is for me. It's going to cause us to grow.
Yes.
It's going to cause us to let go of something of the past and replace it with something new for the future.
Yes.
And that's the answer. I don't care if it's a global problem or if it's just a family problem. It's the same solution.
Yes. And Bob will be one of the superstars at thrivingpostlockdown.com. Thrivingpostlockdown.com. You can go there and register, and let's just learn some more from Bob. So,
what you're saying right now, you can go there and register, but you can also not go in there and register. And this is where it comes back to a decision. If you like what we're talking about, and understand we've spent our entire adult life studying this one subject.
yes.
Not just studying it, we demonstrate it. Our company is a reflection of it. Raymond is, and mine is. So go and register now. Don't put it off. This is called advanced decision. What is the date of it?
It's the end of March. I think it's March 27, 28. Let me just look it up. 27, 28, yes. Okay. Saturday, Sunday, March 27. Oh. Now, it has always been the case that if people change, they can have a totally different life. But now that the whole world has been punched, the whole world's in lockdown, the whole world is wondering about vaccinations, the whole world is wondering about masks and the future of it. So now is even more important that people are willing to think and change and do something different. What is the one key attitude or ingredient or prerequisite that people need in order to grab that oar and get onto the other side of the stream?
I've carried a gold card in my pocket for 60 years. This is a blank gold card. It says on one side, I am so happy and grateful now that, and there's a space to write the goal. On the other side is a quote by Earl Nightingale. It says, this great dream, this surging, dynamic thing, invisible to all the world except to the person who holds it, is responsible for every great advance of humankind.
Wow.
That is the most important thing now, but it's always been the most important thing. I think it's even more important now.
And several people in the stream are saying, what's the URL again? It's thrivingpostlockdown.com. Thrivingpostlockdown.com. And tell me if you could identify the one most important prerequisite for people having the courage or the wisdom or the understanding to grab what's needed and make the changes needed so that their business can turn around or their thinking can turn around. What's the one prerequisite needed in this crazy time?
They have to know that they can turn it into something positive. You have to know that. That is an absolute fact. You have to know that while I'm talking right now, there's a power flowing into your consciousness. It is pure, unadulterated energy, pure, unadulterated spirit. It has no form. You can give it form. Now you can look at all the nonsense that's going on and you can say, in spite of that, I'm going to win. I'm going to build it bigger. I'm going to build it better. And I'm going to build it to last. And then that's all you start looking for. And that's all you talk about. That's all you read about. And he said, here, there's a master key to riches. Study it. Read the book. He spent his whole life putting that information together. It's like Ray Stanford giving me this book. He said, Bob, Napoleon Hill spent his whole life preparing that book. He said, I think it would be a prudent move on your part if you spent the rest of your life trying to understand and apply it. And I did.
Yes, you have. And you have changed from a low-income salaried employee as a fireman in Toronto to running $1 million a year profit business cleaning toilets around the world, to then earning very much less than that working with Napoleon Hill. And now you're running a spectacular company for so many years, and you're a shining light to so many. And you're a model to me. I love that we are like lifelong friends, like 40 years. That counts as a lifetime.
But you know, there's a great lesson there for a lot of people. I was doing something. I didn't dislike what I was doing, but I didn't love it. I was earning a lot of money. but I didn't love what I was doing. And all of a sudden, I became aware something I could do that I absolutely love. I took an enormous hit to take that job.
Yes.
And I was taking a job. I was prepared to pay them to let me work there. And I got an education, the likes of which most people would never get.
Yes.
I spent 5 years there. And I mean, I had an apprenticeship with one of the brightest people in this industry. And it changed my life. But it was a decision, you see. A lot of people thought I was crazy making a decision to leave what I was doing because I was doing so well. And I'd worked at it for a long time. But I was making the right decision for me. It would have been wrong for them, but it was the right one for me. And I think we've got to sit down and ask ourselves, how do I want to spend the rest of my life? I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing what I'm doing today.
Me too.
I want to improve somebody else's life. I want to help people understand there is a better way. And we're quite capable of taking part in it and enjoying it. You know?
I love that you're going to be a star at my event, thrivingpostlockdown.com. And you get one more comment, one more quote, or one more thought as we leave. How would you like to leave?
Well, I have a quote that I use all the time, Raymond. Anytime something comes up, you know, little things that challenge you. It's a quote by Dean Briggs, and I love it. And anybody could use it. It's appropriate to use it in the world today. He said, do your work, not just your work and no more, but a little more for the lavishing's sake, that little more which is worth all the rest. And if you suffer as you must, and you doubt as you must, do your work. Put your heart into it, and the sky will clear, and out of your very doubt and suffering will be born the supreme joy of life. I go over that many times.
It's so beautiful.
It is a beautiful quote.
It is. And my favorite along those lines is by T.S. Eliot, who said, you never know how far you can go until you risk going too far. Love it.
It is. That is a very favorite quote of mine. I love that. That is very true.
Okay.
I remember hearing that, and I thought, God, there's a lot of truth in that. Yeah.
Bob, I'll see you again at Thriving Post Lockdown. Thank you. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure, Raymond. I look forward to seeing you there.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.